Hey folks, welcome back to Only Best Fancy Novels. My name is Robin, and today I want to talk about This Inevitable Ruin by Matt Dinniman. And that means Faction Wars. Level 9 of the dungeon. We're finally here. After being hyped up for the entire series, we finally get to this stage. All Out War. And this book, it was impossible for it to live up to the hype for me. It didn't, but it did such a good job that I just tremendously enjoyed this. By the end, like, I was emotionally wrecked. I was finally caught up with this series, and now I'm gonna have to wait for each new installment to come out. But anyway, let's get into it. Like I said, what is this book even about? This book is the ninth floor of the dungeon. Faction wars. Armies from all across the galaxy pour into the dungeon, and everyone's ready to kill. But this faction war in particular is going to be very different from anything that was ever done in the history of the dungeon, because two entirely new factions have entered the fray. Factions that have never been seen before, and if they have it their way, no one's walking out of this alive. So, like, if you saw my video on Eye of the Bedlam, right, you would see I mentioned that I was worried Matt Dinniman was starting to lose the reins of the story. Like, it was starting to escape him. He had too many balls in the air juggling and all of that. This book shut me up definitively. Like, this book was just wild from start to finish. Like I said, given we've been hyping this particular event in the dungeon from, I think, like the second or third book, and this is book 7. Like, it couldn't. There's no way it could live up to that level of hype, but it was such a wild ride from start to finish. So fun. Just such an incredible, like, Matt Dinniman brings it right back home and just absolutely nails it as far as I care. So, like, first and foremost, this book doesn't even try to reinvent the wheel. It's just here to do one thing and one thing only, and that is just all out war. Like, there's no gimmicks, no fancy tricks, no fancy nothing of the sort. It's just war, and that allows him to just really dive into some of the things that he's touched on lightly over the course of these books, while at the same time doing everything that he does best. Like, this book has just some of the funniest one-liners and just some of the funniest humor in the series to date for me. There's some quotes in here that just really stood out. On top of that, there's some emotional damage in here that it's not on par with what happened at the end of Eye of the Bedlam, right? Like, that was extreme. This is still on par with pretty much any other book in the series except that one, in terms of just the emotional impact that it delivers. Especially given one particular, when it comes to one particular character, like, we knew something bad was going to happen here, but Matt Dinniman handles that situation beautifully for me. Like, he handles it in the best possible way. And at the same time, he does it in such a way that you can't help but really feel torn up by how it plays out. So it was just spectacularly done in terms of just the way how we just twist our emotions around these characters and all of that. Because that's also the cool thing about this particular book. Like, in this book, everything comes together. All the various factions that have a vested interest in this dungeon, and not just that. In this one, like, we've had books in the past at this point where Carl and Donald function as part of an ensemble cast or part of a team. This is the one where all their allies band together and they just go ham on this floor. Like, this book has everything you could expect in a war game scenario. Like, it has tactics, political alliance, political maneuvering, scheming, intelligence, counter-intelligence, strikes and counter-strikes, ambushes, everything, rampages, you name it. Anything, any scenario even remotely connected to warfare, it feels like it happened in this book at some point or the other, between some faction or the other. Like, it just has it all, and it has it in spades, and that just made this book entertaining from start to finish. Even setting aside just the incredible character dynamics and just the humor that are just trademarks of these books at this point. Like, and like, as I said, in between all of that, there's just so much that goes on. Like, there's one scene in here in particular that involves Donald that is just the most cat thing ever. When you read it, you know exactly what scene I'm talking about. The other thing that really stood out for me when it comes to this book is just the humor. Like, I feel like this one, he really dialed up the irreverence in this one. Like there's nothing off limits. There's nothing that can't be poked fun at. Even more so than Eye of the Bedlam Bride, which was it had its humorous moments, and there was one particular character in Eye of the Bedlam Bride that was a real standout. But this one in particular, from start to finish, when I think of the different things that he poked fun at, like the humor in this one was just really elevated for me. All in all, I have to say, like this is a book that delivers for me. Could it live up to the hype of what the series has been hyping so far? No book could possibly do that. I personally believe. But this book was just so entertaining from start to finish. It delivers everything that we enjoy about this series in terms of the humor, the character dynamics, the interest. It just has this high intensity plot, even for such a massive page count. There's just so many moments and quotes and these kind of things you can think back on after reading this book that just amplify your enjoyment of it. You can marinate on this book and think of so many different things that happen and just really enjoy it. And this is the book that really shows how far Carl and Donut have come in terms of what exactly they've set out to do, whether knowingly or unknowingly, what they've set out to do. It shows the snowball effect that they've had. Where it comes to this entire messed up scenario, the apocalyptic scenario, you can see. All in all, a pretty intense book. I have no idea where the series is going to go from here, but like I said, I was worried that Matt Dinniman was starting to lose the reins of control on the series with the sixth book. With this one, he absolutely snaps it back. I'm very excited to see where it goes from here. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on this Inevitable Ruin. Now I'm on the grind waiting with everyone else. And yeah, if you've made it this far into the video, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.